You can no longer ignore the charts. The charts are the truth. And if you've got gold and Bitcoin leading for the first time in the asset's history where they've been operating together, that screams fiscal dominance. That screams fiscal emergency. That screams a new monetary era. That is a rotation out of the US dollar and US assets, guys. I cannot put it any clearer. I cannot put it any clearer. The charts do not lie. And I fully expect Bitcoin to rip and surpass gold as the top performer this year. If Bitcoin is going up 50% a year on average, so 50% CAGR, that's compound annual growth rate, that means that my net worth has doubled every 18 months. That means Bitcoin on average doubles every year and a half.
Your future becomes more limited when you live your life in dollars. Your future grows while you spend your life in Bitcoin. Strike CEO Jack Mallers keeps emphasizing that point. According to him, Bitcoin is a new monetary standard created for liberty and justice, not merely new money. In a world where central banks control the rules and inflation stealthily robs savers, Bitcoin empowers people to take control of their time, safeguard their worth, and amass riches without authorization. Mallers contends that while Bitcoin encourages independence, creativity, and saving, the dollar system favors debt and penalizes hard work. He sees this as a human revolution as much as a financial one. If you're intrigued by bold predictions and deep financial insights, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more engaging content. Thank you for your support and enjoy the video.
If the US government is in debt, which we all know they are, unsurmountable amount of debt, ridiculous, like no one thinks they can pay it back. They know they can't pay it back, right? So the US government's in $37 trillion worth of debt, okay? Now, typically, for a normal person like you and I, anyone who's in debt has two options, only two. One, they could pay it back like an honest person. I'm in debt, $20. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, where do you want to meet? I got your $20 I owe you, right? Pay it back. My second option is I can default. I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I don't know if you're ever going to want to talk to me again. I'm so sorry. I know this is going to impact our friendship, but I'm defaulting on the $20 I owe you. I simply can't pay it back. Those are the two options for any normal person when they're in debt. What you guys have to understand is that the US government uniquely has a third option, unique to them, because they can print what they owe. You understand? They can devalue what they owe. And time again, we know the US government cannot afford to pay it back. We mathematically know they can't. We've walked through the economics on this show. They also cannot default. They can't pick up the phone and say, guys, in fact, a default would actually be the most bullish case for Bitcoin. If the US government said the dollar's dead, we're moving on to something else, Bitcoin would go to $1 million tomorrow. The only option, if it's a multiple choice, the only option they have is to print what they owe, devalue the debt. In dollars, over the last 5 years, guys, since COVID, 5 years ago, in dollars, the NASDAQ is up 165%, so it's more than doubled. The SPX is up 102%. It's more than doubled. Home prices, unfortunately, are also up 56%. So those that have been in real estate have performed 56%. Those that can't afford real estate yet, it's getting much more unaffordable, 56% more unaffordable. However, guys, in gold, so if you do not measure the NASDAQ, the SPX, and housing in dollars, and you measure it in gold, the NASDAQ is only up 7% since COVID against gold. It's up 165% in dollars. It's only up 7% against gold. It's down. The SPX is down 18% against gold. Not up 100%, down 18%. And home prices fell 37% against gold. So if you were trying to get a house during COVID and you couldn't quite afford one, housing has gotten 37% cheaper just by measuring in a different asset, just by measuring in gold and not dollars. Do you understand? Now let's do Bitcoin. The NASDAQ is down 78% since COVID against Bitcoin. In dollars, it's up 165%. Against Bitcoin, it's down 78%. Stocks on the NASDAQ are 78% cheaper. You get a 78% discount if you simply used Bitcoin as your savings instead of dollars. Let's do the SPX. They're down 84%. The SPX is up over 100% since COVID in dollars. It is down 84%. You get an 84% discount. Let's do housing. Ladies and gentlemen, real estate is down 87% in Bitcoin terms since COVID. If you have been saving in Bitcoin since COVID, you get an 87% discount on buying a house. That's the debasement trade. That's why I started Bitcoin in 21, Strike in 21. That's what we're doing at Strike. That's why I get my paychecks in Bitcoin. That's why I pay my bills with my Strike account. That's why I borrow against my Bitcoin to finance my life. The debasement trade. Guys, you live your life on dollars, your life gets more expensive. You live your life on dollars, you get less housing, you get less stocks, you get less food, you get less vacations, you get less life expectancy, you grow less family. You live your life on Bitcoin, you get more housing, more equities, more family, more health, more vacations, more education, more everything. How you store your time and energy defines the quality of your life. The quality of your money is the quality of your life. The debasement trade is going mainstream. What we're talking about is going viral, guys. This is it. This is it.
One thing that Jack Mallers makes apparent is that this is only the beginning and not the end of Bitcoin. For the last 15 years, people have called Bitcoiners insane, laughed at, and rejected them. However, they continue to be proven correct by life. As of right now, the markets, data, and charts all indicate that the dollar era is ending. The Great Rotation, as Mallers refers to it, is a significant shift away from debt-based assets and US dollars and into safe havens, like gold and, most importantly, Bitcoin. The fact that Bitcoin is still in its infancy is something that most people overlook. Its entire market worth is less than that of a handful significant tech firms. So the world hasn't even started to realize what's going to happen. The day when Bitcoin becomes the norm is still a ways off. To remain up to date on the most recent developments in Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and the digital economy, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable post notifications.
In the 15 years Bitcoin has been around, gold and Bitcoin have never been 1 and 2. I'm going to say that again. Gold and Bitcoin have never been 1 and 2. What does that imply, guys? This is the new monetary era. I see all of these finance bros on all of the social medias. You got all these social medias where you got all this opportunity to spew all this nonsense. And they say, oh, you see that? You got some dude in an empty closet ranting about Bitcoin. This is the top. Who the hell is that? He must be in his mom's house. Yeah, okay. This is the end of the beginning. We are just getting started. And if you don't want to listen to me, that's fine. You can click on a different YouTube video. But I've been right for 13 goddamn years. Bitcoiners have been right for 15 years. You can no longer ignore the charts. The charts are the truth. And if you've got gold and Bitcoin leading for the first time in the asset's history where they've been operating together, that screams fiscal dominance. That screams fiscal emergency. That screams a new monetary era. That is a rotation out of the US dollar and US assets, guys. I cannot put it any clearer. I cannot put it any clearer. The charts do not lie. And I fully expect Bitcoin to rip and surpass gold as the top performer this year. But what I will tell you is this. Mainstream media, the greater West, majority of America, Europe, the West at large, they do not appreciate that an existing chapter is closing. The game has changed. I'm telling you guys right now, the game has changed. The gig is up. Okay? We need to start thinking in relative terms. Gold is becoming the largest reserve asset in the world. Gold is not even 20% of foreign held US treasuries for gold on the US balance sheet. Bitcoin is only $2.5 trillion. Bitcoin is still worth less than certain companies like Nvidia. We are not even close. The beginning is ending. If Bitcoin is going up 50% a year on average, so 50% CAGR, that's compound annual growth rate, that means that my net worth has doubled every 18 months. That means Bitcoin on average doubles every year and a half. Guys, that's the dollar debasement trade. That's it. Everything around me has gotten cheaper. And it's not just me. I'm not special. In fact, I'm kind of weird. Sit in this empty closet constantly. I'm a weird guy. It's whoever figures it all out. It's whoever owns Bitcoin. It's whoever takes the time to think for themselves, have their own opinion, try and make sense of the world. This is it. If you own Bitcoin, housing gets cheaper every year for you.
According to Jack Mallers, we are living through a historic moment that marks the end of the beginning rather than the end of Bitcoin. He cautions that mainstream media and the majority of the Western world are still in the dark about what is going on. The world of finance has evolved. The US dollar's hegemony is eroding as countries subtly shift to safer currencies like gold and more recently Bitcoin. Bitcoin's market capitalization is still lower than that of several tech businesses such as Nvidia, despite gold becoming a significant reserve asset. That is to say, the tale of Bitcoin is still in its early stages. Mallers explains it simply. If Bitcoin keeps growing at a 50% annual average rate and doubles around every 18 months, then owning Bitcoin is the best defense against inflation and depreciation of the dollar. Bitcoin holders are seeing the opposite of what those who save in dollars are experiencing, a decline in their purchasing power. According to him, this is the Bitcoiner lifestyle. Life genuinely becomes more affordable for them as time goes on. Energy, housing, food, and travel all become more affordable when expressed in Bitcoin. He notes that when prices are expressed in Bitcoin, the price of groceries, housing, and even energy has decreased by over 80% in the last 5 years. Mallers believes we're entering the mainstream phase of Bitcoin adoption, a time when the world finally realizes that the real bubble isn't in crypto, but in fiat money and government debt. In his words, the great rotation has begun from inflationary money that enslaves people to hard money that sets them free. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications if you thought his viewpoint was helpful so you don't miss any updates. We'd love to know what you think about the future of cryptocurrency markets, so please share your ideas in the comments section. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in the next video.